Honourable Taibosh, I've noted your hand. Just in terms of the detectives, Honourable Brose, I'm going to take the opportunity to answer that. We did have the capacitation of detective session recently. I will send you the relevant feedback on that as well. And then we'll come back for the other comments. I've noted Honourable Mokoena also. Minister, may I come over to you and the National Commissioner for remarks or answers, and then we will continue after that with Honourable Skosana, Adams, Taibosh, and Mokoena.
Chair, I don't know whether it would be it won't be overreach on my side to suggest that maybe let's exhaust the questioning side and then we'll come back once so that it might help, but if you don't insist.
No, I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with that if you are Minister. I just didn't want you to have too big a list of questions. Then we're going to add more questions by the members. I know committee members have several more questions. I can see Honourable Kola Barnard's hand is already up again. So noted. That's fine with me. May I then propose that we go over to Honourable Skosana for the next questions or comments? Honourable Skosana.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair, and to the Minister and his team, the National Commissioner, and generals who are here with us. My question is simple. My question is, you know, the Crime Intelligence Service, as we know, is one of the people the country depends on in terms of intelligence. Now, I'm worried, you know, comes to that there's about 500, just over 500 posts which were advertised internally and for supervisor funding positions. What have led to high vacancy, and what service? This post filled. If not, how many remain vacant? And what is the plan of the to meet this high turnover of the turnover rate of detectives, where we need all hands on the deck to reduce the workload and resolve this issue, because we have so many open old dockets which are not closed as yet, many years. Lot of, for instance, I still have a case which I reported of Tina. I'm asking myself, you know, how long is it going to take for this to be resolved? Now, you look at a Pala issue, you know, my colleague has just articulated on.
Honourable Skosana, we're losing you. I think unless it's my signal, it seems that there's a network problem.
We didn't hear a thing of what you were saying, Chair.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you,
but not Honourable Skosana.
Yes, Honourable Skosana, I couldn't hear him, but I can hear you, Chair.
We'll come back to Honourable Skosana, just for the network issue to be resolved. Honourable Adams.
There's nothing to hide here. I'm not sure whether.
Chairperson. Honourable Skosana, we're going to come back to you. If I may propose to just restart for us to just reconnect, maybe, because there's a network issue.
Chairperson, Honourable I don't know if you still going to continue. Is intermittent, Chair, if I may.
Please go ahead, Honourable Adams.
Thank you, Chairperson, Minister, all members of Saps and all colleagues. I've got a good few questions, Chairperson, but first I must just state that these Zoom meetings are becoming a bit tedious because I'm always losing signal all the time. So It was a long, exhaustive presentation, Chairperson. And I must say I'm very disappointed because there are so many inconsistencies in what was said here, and I'm going to point them all out if you grant me the time. Lieutenant General Shamani, you spoke extensively on fake news on social media, and I agree with you. A lot of what is being said about SAPS on social media is untrue, but we ignore it because it doesn't really impact SAPS. Well, not on a service delivery level, because people don't take SAPS seriously anymore. But off the subject of fake news and on the subject of real news, at Langleni Police District, the police station, the DPCI case, the case number 1/11/2024, 150 million rand drugs confiscated, the biggest bust in the country for years. SAPS didn't issue a statement. I mentioned it in the last meeting. No one brought it here. This is not going away. I'll tell you why SAPS never issued a statement. Because this news is never to be transmitted. Because the people implicated are connected, and this case is going to go away. We won't let it, just so that you guys know. Now, I want to move on to the issue of Brigadier Langweni, General Theo, and General Khan. 3 members of SAPS. 2 of them fired, one expeditiously, the other one by a fitness board. No disciplinary hearings afforded. General Khan, you attempted to fire him expeditiously. He took it to court. He won it in court, in the High Court, mind you. Probably at a cost of 500,000 rand to us taxpayers. You lost on the DC. The man was acquitted. Don't come to this meeting and tell us that the case has been finalized. Come here and tell us the truth. The man was acquitted. He was falsely accused. Falsely accused by whom, we want to know. Now, there was a criminal element to this case. Those people were never prosecuted. But you attempted to dismiss General Khan as if he was an accessory. The man was persecuted by members of SAPS, high-ranking members of SAPS that sit in this meeting. Members of this portfolio have made statements against Brigadier Langweni, General Theo, General Khan. And I have full faith in the justice system that the other 2 members will be brought back because they've been fired using the wrong method. Now, I ask you a question, sir. Why was General Lushaba not dismissed in the same manner for the same thing as General Theo is accused of? Why is he being protected? Is he being protected because his signatures are all over the purchases of those hotels you were never supposed to buy? Because moving on to the issue of the hotels, SAPS has no right to buy. They can't buy buildings. They don't have it. But they're buying it anyway. But the NASCOM is sitting here acting as if it doesn't happen, Chairperson. Why is the NASCOM not taking action against people like General Lushaba that are buying properties without tax money, using Secret Service funds, which they should not be doing? I want to move on from there and say the 415 million rand that has been spent on the political killing stars team for 130 murders is disgraceful. And I'll tell you where the 415 million rand comes from. I'll tell you. Because the slide only gave us very, very scant information as to the spend. These people are being housed in 4- and 5-star hotels and lodges. The political killing stars team is nothing more than a terror group. Why is the murder of Mahaka not being investigated by this team? I'll tell you why, Chairperson. Because that murder will trace the AK-47 that was used to kill this poor man back to crime intelligence. The weapon was bought with Secret Service money. So the political killing stars team, with all this money on their hands, with all this time, does not go and track the killing of a young black man that stood up to corruption in KZN. They nitpick their cases. Minister, we fully support your effort to disband the stars team in the face of the generals that are refusing to do it. Officer Dlamini was mentioned. It is very interesting, Chairperson, that in our interview with Sergeant Dlamini, he said that General Kumalo gave him an unlawful instruction which he refused to answer, which he refused to do. 2 weeks later, he was arrested for defeating the ends of justice. He's been held on trial for 5 years for a non-violent crime. Coincidentally, the magistrate, the judge at the regional court that found him guilty, surname is Kumalo. If you go and read the transcripts from that court case, I've given it to an advocate. She says, no way can this man be found guilty. We need to appeal this. Now, I'm going to say to you, sir, that in light of what has happened here, are we as the public, members of this portfolio, within our rights to doubt what's happening at crime intelligence? I think we are. But I just want to add one more thing before I let you go, before you let me go, Chairperson. I just need to find it on my phone because, as luck would have it, my tablet packed up. Well, there are two more things I want to say. General Abia did not institute proceedings against General Kadwa on the same facts as what General Khan was prosecuted for. Is it because General Khan is a minority, or is it because he's in the way? General Tiani blocked every attempt to abuse that slush fund, and he was removed. I mean, Brigadier Langweni, Tiani Langweni, was removed using a manner that is, let's just call it distasteful for now. But here's the kicker. That same Brigadier Tiani is the man who reported all of this madness to the Zondo Commission. How come this was not brought before this committee? Because this whole presentation was half-baked. Facts have been omitted and facts have been twisted. The NASCOM must tell us, the political killing stars team, is it funded with the open account or the secret account? Because I heard both, and I need to know if it's legal. And this thing is recorded, so we'll go back to the recording, because the NASCOM actually did contradict himself. But above all, Tiani, Tio, Khan, 3 generals with full security clearance are being prosecuted and persecuted by generals without security clearance, with cooked security clearance. Now, explain this to me. General Madondo has no security clearance, but the name is brought up as if she belongs there. She should not be in that position as per, excuse me, as per the recommendation by Commissioner Sitoli of 2018. Nobody is supposed to be acting in a position that they're not fit for. But these people are being appointed. Is crime intelligence nothing more than a mafia? It appears so. But let me conclude. Let me conclude by saying all those 500 vacancies, and this is where I'd like an answer, because I generally don't get answers from this committee. Those 500 vacancies that were offered at Saps, how many of those opportunities went to colored boys and girls? Because right here in the Western Cape, within Saps, we are being underemployed. We are not being allowed to grow via promotions or via training. And I believe this is a countrywide thing. I believe that the South African Police Services not only is the most corrupt. Chairperson, can I finish? Not
yes,
only is
last, please conclude.
It's also the most racist, because I can't walk into a police station without looking for a colored person in the Western Cape of all places. I must inform you that colored people are still in the majority here. We're just not being given opportunity. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honourable Adams. I'm going to head over to Honourable Tybosh.
Thanks, Chair. Am I audible?
You are audible, Honourable Tybosh. You're more than welcome to go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I was largely covered by previous speakers, but there's some tone to this morning's address by the President, and I can't shake the feeling that it was almost like the President was speaking to the Portfolio Committee and basically asked us nicely to stop doing our work. And I think the President should, the Minister, Minister, the Minister should rather appreciate what we are doing in terms of our work and informing him of the things that we are not happy with, instead of trying to ask us to go easy on these guys. But the Minister must realize that these people have been around for a lot longer than he is, and there's a lot. And I'm saying this tongue in cheek. There's a lot that the Minister doesn't know what's going on. And I've had the privilege, and I've still got the privilege to be friends with some very high-ranking police officials. And I'm not prepared to give their names here, but I sit and I listen to these things. And guys are saying to the man, Tybosh, dinge gaan nooit regkom nie. Dinge gaan nooit regkom nie. Die ouens trek die wol oor 'n koenoes oor. So just for the Ministers to appreciate what we're doing, we will be doing continue to do what we're doing. And I'm sorry, we're not gonna back off. It is our job. We've been put here by our constituency and by our people to continue doing the oversight that we are doing for you. Instead, I think you should appreciate and start maybe listening to us and taking us more seriously. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Tybosh. Honourable Mokoena.
Thank you, Chair. The issue of leadership instability within Crime Intelligence Division is a concern. What steps is SAPS taking to address this leadership instability? And how is it impacting the effectiveness of crime prevention and investigation? And also, what are the specific training programs that have been put in place to improve the skills and expertise of personnel within crime intelligence? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Mokoena. Honourable Kola Barnard.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, let me line off now. Yeah, the issue of gaps in capacity, particularly in terms of the number of qualified analysts and investigators in crime intelligence. What are you headhunting at universities, at other entities? I know it's extremely difficult for a number of entities I have visited to retain that sort of expertise, because of course the private sector pays enormous salaries. So are the gaps caused by natural attrition or by basically people going for a higher salary elsewhere? And the baseline reductions in the budget, that hit security cluster across the board. How did they hit you in terms of staffing and resources? I see there's a lot of hiring going on, especially, for example, we heard about the numbers to do with vetting. But I'm not seeing how the cutting of the funding has hit you in terms of those. Speaking of vetting, what is your current vetting backlog in crime intelligence in comparison to, say, the previous 2 years, in that you seem to have filled these posts and have paid overtime for those doing the vetting? It's a perennial problem, and I don't know that anyone's ever got on top of it. But it is of huge concern to hear from my colleague that once again, there are people in very high positions who are not able to obtain top secret security clearance for various reasons. Now, I've asked the question before, and it came out that there were within the SAPS people convicted of major crimes. I mean, rape, murder, fraud. It was a huge and horrific list, and I had all the details given to me. I would imagine that because of that publicity, shall we say, the revelation would have had SAPS taking criminality within its ranks seriously. But if you have people are unable to get clearance, there is a reason for them not getting clearance. And it's not because they're simply not being tested, they are failing. That means they have major issues in their background. What are they doing in the top structure of the SAPS? I would ask the Minister to look into that very carefully, please. The cybercrime unit has been under-supported since its creation. It took, I can't tell you how many years, Minister, for the SAPS to take cybercrime really seriously. And we know now it's accepted that it's actually a major crime. It could have been nipped in the bud at the outset, I think, to a large degree, but now we have banks being looted of 500 million in a matter of seconds, individuals being hoaxed, people claiming to be SAPS members and extorting money, etc., etc., etc. So did I hear that the unit now has 200 members? What's the average caseload in terms of that for each member? And you know, I heard you talk about the task team and the task team being shut and that, but frankly, it all seems unclear because we're now told that this will now be discussed with the president. Is there an indication that now this task team will be, the lifespan will be extended? Is that what the discussion with the president will be about? And with the National Police Commissioner and the KZNPC part of the minister's decision to shut it down or not? It is an issue. And just to assist my colleague, of course, crime intelligence, as do the SSA, may buy properties for specific cases they're running or as safe houses. This is revealed all within the JSCI. So I think your wires are a bit crossed in that regard. Thank you, Chair. I'm done for now.
Thank you, Honourable Kola Barnard.